Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Chris with Inside the U, and I have 10 takeaways and tidbits to talk about Miami's second spring scrimmage and their 12th practice overall. Now, this is based on what Manny Diaz had to say about the scrimmage and statistics he released in a video afterwards. We weren't able to ask questions, but this is just my reaction to some of the things he had to say. Okay, let's start with number one, and that's quarterback Tyler Van Dyke. He had a really good performance, 13 for 17, 190 yards and 3 touchdowns. I thought this was great for Tyler. He talked about leading up to this scrimmage that he wanted to do better than he did in the first scrimmage, and based on the performance of the statistics that were provided, he certainly did that. So that's great to see that his production was better, completion percent was better, yards per attempt, touchdowns were more. So all of those things were great to see for Tyler. And I know he's looking to finish strong next week, which will be the final week of spring ball, concluding with the spring game. So that's a great performance by Tyler. And my number two takeaway stays with the quarterback position, and that's Jay Garcia. Another good day for the freshman. He goes 18 for 27, 164 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But overall, based on those numbers, it sounds like he still had a pretty good day. So it's good to see. Again, Jay Garcia enrolled in January. He's just now getting into the full flow of spring ball, and it sounds like he had a good performance once again. Maybe his numbers take a little bit of a dip from the first scrimmage, but still good sign that the young freshman is doing well also. Okay, number three. If the quarterbacks are doing well, they're obviously thrown to receivers, and my first receiver I want to talk about is Charleston Rambo. He led the receivers with 107 yards on 7 catches and a touchdown. Manny Diaz revealed one of those the touchdown was on a trick play, a big play to start it off from Van Dyke. So good to see. Manny Diaz also mentioned that Charleston showed good explosion today, and that's not a surprise. If you've been following along of spring ball, you've noticed a lot of players and coaches talk about Charleston's ability to make big plays with his speed, explosion, and so that's good to see in a setting like this. His first time at Hard Rock Stadium for the Hurricanes, so that's a good sign that he did well. I definitely think, based on the spring, Charleston certainly is in that top group. You might want to say he's right behind Mike Harley for that top receiver group, just based on the production and just kind of the way that everyone's talking about him. He seems to have very good days, and he's utilizing his speed, which is a good sign. So the Oklahoma transfer, at the very least, is certainly pushing for that starting spot for the upcoming season. So definitely a good performance for Charleston. Number 4 is another wide receiver, and he's not talked about very often, and that's D. Wiggins. So earlier this week, if you saw the highlights that were posted on the channel, D. Wiggins caught a long pass from Jay Garcia. And actually, earlier in the spring, Mike Harley revealed that D was kind of dealing with some stuff, so he hadn't been out there. So what we do know, he had a good performance this week based on that one catch, just a snippet there that he had a long catch. So that's great to see. But tonight in the scrimmage, he did well also. He goes 5 catches, 63 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The 2 touchdowns are really big for me because D's a guy that I think has the ability to get to the end zone and make plays. He's got a little bit more size, and also he's got a lot of speed. So we don't know exactly how the touchdowns happen, but it's certainly great that he reached the end zone. And it's a good week for D as he comes back and looks to have a strong second half to spring ball. Definitely keep your eye on him because his improvement is important based on how things went last year. So definitely a good sign for D. You got to give him credit for that. Okay, number 5, the last receiver I'm going to talk about today is Mike Harley. Once again, Manny Diaz made quick to note that they've been limiting Mike's performances, his reps, and whether it's a scrimmage and whatnot. But basically, look, they know what they have in Mike. He's the leader of the group. He's by far the number 1 receiver right now. And today he had a good day, 3 catches, 34 yards, and a touchdown. Nothing overwhelming the way that D and Charleston had, but he's a guy that just continues to produce. He produced in the first scrimmage. We don't know how many reps he had there, but you can see if Mike's being held back just a little bit on reps, just to give some other guys a mix to get in there. So that's good to see. And again, when Mike's in there, he does well. And it sounds like that's exactly what happened again tonight in the scrimmage. Okay, number 6. Bubba Bolden had an interception. Great to see. I've spoken quite a few times about Bubba in the sense that I believe that he's got interceptions in him. I think he's got the ability to pick off more passes than we've seen. I've seen him in practices and pregame and things like that really show pretty good ball skills. So the fact that he picked off a pass today, I think that's a good sign. We don't know who he picked off. I mentioned earlier that Jake threw an interception. Maybe it was Bubba, maybe not. But either way, it's great that Bubba found a way to get his hands on the ball and secure an interception. The defensive backs need all of the interceptions they can get. So it's great to see one of their leading guys get that. And so that's definitely a good sign. Hopefully we hear more of that from Bubba because, like I said, I think he's got more in him. I think he can really produce and get his hands on more balls and finish plays with the big turnover. Number 7 starts with Jalen Knighton. He had a big day, 66 yards on 12 carries. It led the running backs. Good to see Jalen. He talked earlier this week quite a bit about how he's been studying film, in particular, working on those pre-snap reads. And I was very curious to see how that was going to translate in this game-like setting. And it sounds like Jalen did a good job with that. And I assume he credits a lot of his success from tonight to all of the work he's been putting in on the film room. And once again, he's watching a lot of guys, whether it's former guys, NFL guys, whether it's himself. He said he even watches the other running backs, Don Chaney Jr., Cameron Harris. So he is watching a lot of film, soaking in as much information as possible. Once again, it's great to see because, as you guys know, Jalen's got a lot of physical attributes with his speed, quickness, ability just to make plays on some natural instinct things. So the fact that he's really implementing this film study, it sounds like he's taking this to the game film or to the game field, and it's definitely translating into some success. So definitely keep your eye on Jalen as he looks to finish strong as well. But definitely this scrimmage was a good sign for Jalen Knighton because we've not heard a lot about how the running backs have been doing. So good for Jalen. Number 8, Cameron Harris. Sticking with the running backs, sticking with, just not hearing a lot about how they're doing. But Manny Diaz revealed in the first scrimmage on campus, Cameron did a good job of kind of diving over a player for a touchdown, and he did that again tonight. Said it was a little bit different, but basically Cameron's making great athletic plays to reach the end zone. That's certainly a good thing to hear because you want your running backs not just picking up yards, not just picking up big plays in the open field, making guys miss, but also you want to see them finish with touchdowns, and that's great. However it happens, Cameron Harris, whether he's leaping over defenders or whatever it might be, the fact that he's doing it and reaching the end zone is definitely a great sign. He finished with 39 yards on 8 carries, so a solid day overall. Not big numbers, but again, the fact that he's making these impressive plays is important. And I think that's good because, once again, anything we're hearing on the running game is good to hear. Number 9, we're almost wrapping this up, but a couple defensive players I want to talk about as well. So Manny Diaz revealed that cornerback DJ Ivey had a couple nice pass breakups today. That's certainly a good thing to hear because I think a lot of people might be down on DJ based on how last season went, or just maybe that they want a little bit more from him. He was someone that I highlighted quite a bit in the offseason from when the bowl game ended up until spring ball, that people around UM were excited about what DJ had to offer. And it really felt like he was going to have either a big spring, big summer into the offseason. So the fact that he's doing well in this scrimmage is a great sign to back up some of those beliefs. And also Manny Diaz said that DJ, not just today, but he had a good week, kind of like D. Wiggins seemed to have a good week. So DJ Ivey had a good week. Once again, I'm saying this quite a bit, but we're just at this point of spring ball. There's only a few practices left. This is number 12. There's 3 more left, including the spring game. So all of these guys want to finish strong. I feel like it's so important to have some momentum going into the offseason. As a player, you'd hate to be in the summer and wishing you did more in the spring, showed the coaches more, or showed more improvement. So all of these guys looking to finish strong, finish with some momentum. Maybe some momentum you don't talk about too often. You talk about the season and maybe winning a bowl game and the importance of the momentum there. But I think it's very important for these players to have momentum going into the summer. Okay, as we wrap this up, my 10th and final takeaway, sticking with the defense, Manny Diaz released some statistics on some tackles, and the one that stood out to me, the player, was Avery Huff with 6 tackles. Okay, many of you are excited about Avery Huff. You want to see him on the field, but you know why he's not been on the field. The coaches have made it clear. He's got to make sure he knows where he's going. He's got to make sure he understands the playbook. And it sounds like he's making strides. Once again, we heard earlier in the spring, Jonathan Patke credited Avery for doing that. So again, tonight, 6 tackles. We We have no idea how that ended up. Maybe he was chasing from behind, or maybe he missed one earlier and had to get one. But either way, whatever it might be, he finished with 6 tackles. I think it's a good sign because Avery's a guy that needs to be productive. He's someone that has not been productive in these type of settings in the past. So this is a great sign for the people that are curious if Avery Huff can win that weak side linebacker position. Okay, I want to thank everybody for watching. For more in-depth coverage and analysis, check out InsideTheU.com. Just thanks again for watching, and take care.